All right, you're looking at amateur video of Syrian warplanes attacking rebels in the suburbs just outside the capital, Damascus. That happening a little bit earlier today. Those airstrikes are part of the government's latest offensive against those rebel bases. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Ayman Wahideen. And Ayman is based in the Middle East, but he's in New York today and able to join us here. Ayman, good to have you here.
Good to be here, Richard.
All right, so let's talk about this back and forth. Is it still in a seesaw condition? Do you see this breaking any which way anytime soon?
No, we don't see any significant changes. What we're seeing on the ground are incremental operations on both sides.
Yeah.
The rebels gain pieces of territory. They take over a military base. They get heavier weapons. The military and the Syrian regime fights back with aircrafts, heavier guns, killing more people. And we've seen this kind of status quo for the past 8 months, 9 months, without any significant tipping balance into each other or one another's favors, rather.
And quickly, for Syrians, 60,000 killed so far, at least, civilians, right? And there are many places where they don't have electricity, they don't have basic needs being met.
Well, yeah, the humanitarian conditions on the ground, complete disaster by every international organization's assessment. The people there, you mentioned 60,000 people killed on all sides of the conflict, 600,000 displaced into neighboring countries, close to 2 million people displaced inside Syria, meaning they've left their homes, gone to try to find shelter elsewhere. Every international organization I've spoken to that is operating inside Syria has described a very dire humanitarian situation that is only exacerbated by the fact that we're now in the middle of the winter, no electricity, shortage of fuels, medicine, supplies to keep homes warm, no blankets. It is a very grim picture for the people that are inside Syria.
Bashar al-Assad still in power, not going to step down. Russia, the key player there. That's just one outside influence that we're watching. We have the United States and the UK wanting him to step aside. You've got things happening to the south of Syria. You have things happening off the coast of Syria. What sort of environment are we looking at in terms of what Assad might do next?
Well, it's an extremely chaotic one. It's an extremely unpredictable one. And what we've seen in the past is because of the internationalization of this conflict, much has been said that this conflict is an internal civil war. In fact, no, it has a lot of international players already in it, with the money coming into it, with the weapons, with the diplomatic cover Russia's giving Syria, money coming in from the Gulf countries to the rebels. So there's no doubt this conflict is no longer just a Syrian conflict. It is a regional one. The fighting is taking place inside Syria, but it has regional implications.
Chemical weapons, that was brought up by Leon Panetta, and I believe his statement was that he had said earlier, he said he was alluding to the chemical weapons, and he said it could involve U.S. troops, saying, quote, "You always have to keep the possibility that if there is a peaceful transition and international organizations get involved," as you were talking about there, Ayman, that they might ask for assistance in that situation. So Defense Secretary Leon Panetta discussing chemical weapons and how U.S. troops might be involved in that. Is there a concern about those weapons right now?
Absolutely. Not only for the U.S., but also for Israel, one of the most important things they've been keeping an eye on, and they've hinted at the fact that they would possibly use force if they needed to ensure them, is the weapons falling in the hands of people that could potentially be dangerous to Syria's neighbors. Turkey as well, extremely concerned about it. We have seen in the past Arab dictators use chemical weapons, as we've seen in Iraq. So there is a growing concern that in a moment of desperation, if in fact this regime feels that its back is against the wall, its time is running out, it may resort to these weapons.
What about loose chemical weapons?
Well,
third parties, fourth parties.
And that's that even if they aren't used by the regime, the concern is that somebody along the lines can get their hands on them and then smuggle them out of the country, or perhaps use them in some different conflict.
Russian forces, you were telling me how they have a naval base there. There was also recently warships in the Mediterranean off the coast of Syria undertaking practice there, war games, if you will. What's the sort of calculus when we look at Russia and its military apparatus and its existence there in that area?
Well, this is the largest, last major military base in the Middle East, if not the last military base in the Middle East. It still sees Syria as a satellite state, if you will, of it because of its historic relations with that country. It has a naval base there. It has several Russian citizens and civilians there. And Russia has said that it would, if it needed to, evacuate its citizens. So there is a bit of flexing of the Russian military muscle in the region. And nobody in the region is fearing Russian military involvement, but it gives you a sense of how quickly the situation can explode if, in fact, it spreads beyond Syria's borders in a very direct military-to-military way.
And right now, as you were saying at the start of our conversation, it doesn't look like we're going to see anything different than the seesaw situation, which we've seen now for some time. All right, Ayman Wahideen, thank you so much.